Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Andres Escobar Talk Show, episode 10. This is Julia Laugero, Director of Business Development at LMA Escobar Architecture. We received tons of questions from you guys about Andres, his career, and what he's passionate about. So, in today's episode, we will try to answer to many of your questions. Are you ready, Andres?
Absolutely.
Great. So, let's start from the beginning. How and when did you make the decision to pursue a career in architecture and design?
I love design since I was a young boy, and my mom and my dad were from sort of like a different type of backgrounds. My dad was more of a mathematician and an engineer. My mom was really a stay-at-home mom that was very, I would say, a great decorator. I wouldn't say a great designer, but a great decorator. And she always pushed me towards artistic venues and to painting and oil painting and acrylic painting. So from a very early age, I was always kind of like on the arts, and I really enjoyed it. And I actually was not too, toot my own violin, but I was actually pretty good at it. And most of my friends used to ask me to do their drawings and their presentations because my sketches and my drawings were much nicer than they were.
Wow, great. I can probably ask you the same today. So let me ask you another question. Were there any particular influences early in your career, and what challenges did you encounter?
Well, I think that at the beginning of the career was more to understand what is it that makes me happy and I enjoy doing. So I started at the very beginning of the career in retail, which was actually a very good experience because it sort of trained me into understanding the various demographics. I know that when you're talking about design and architecture and art, a lot of people do not take that into consideration, but the type of work that I like to do, it always pertains to a specific market. So having had the chance to really be involved in retail, which is very pointed towards what your target market is, it was actually an excellent training. Yet I needed to find out what else I liked other than retail, and then from retail I went into doing shopping center, and from shopping centers I went into working in supermarkets. But when I'm talking about supermarkets, like larger surface, what today you would consider maybe, well, European brands, sort of like Carrefour and
Mhm.
Auchan and Miko, and then I went into hospitality. So it has sort of like evolved into a variety of fields, and by now I could say that I was very fortunate to have been able to work in pretty much everything that somebody who's in the design field would love to work on.
Great, fantastic. And what is your favorite part of the design process?
Well, the design process is obviously, you want to deliver a great product. You want to I always use the term getting to my client's head, understand what makes them tick, understand what they want to achieve, whether they're corporate, whether they're individuals, whether it is a private home, whether it is a condominium tower, whether it is a restaurant, is just, people sometimes cannot really give you a verbal description of what they're looking for, but I'm great at listening and taking that information and delivering what they had in mind, which is actually an excellent and a great process.
Wow. And what role does sustainability play into your work?
Well, sustainability is now part of everything. In today's world, we got to be very conscious of the fact that everything that we do, it affects the environment and the individuals, and we want to be as conscious of that fact and try to minimize a footprint in the environment and also in the energy consumption and many other factors. But I think that by now sustainability is not just one additional topic; it's part of the whole deliverable in terms of a total package.
And in terms of ultimate goal, what you try to achieve and what you try to get as with your work?
To me, I mean, a true success is when the project proves itself to be obviously successful from an economic standpoint, but more importantly for me is for the client to truly embrace what was designed for them. And as I said before, you know, we kind of get into people's heads and try to deliver something that everybody's going to be proud of. And I would never shortchange my clients. I want to make sure that they actually have, were able to achieve what they have in mind within the constraints of what we were giving. So that to me is kind of like the main goal.
Fantastic. And this is a question that is coming probably from some young designers, but they are actually asking you what advices could you give them to starting out their career today?
Well, being a little daring, having the opportunity to really explore all the various typologies of work. Some people kind of like start in a specific typology, maybe residential, maybe hospitality, and they kind of like stay on that, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. My career path was more about trying to do as much as possible of the diversity of the typologies, because I'm a little bit of, and I wouldn't say a difficult person, but I really enjoy diversity. And I enjoy, and I'm very curious, and I want to make sure, and I like challenges. So for me, it was more how can I learn to work on the various typologies, whether it was hospitality, whether it was residential, whether it was private homes, whether it was point of sale, retail, food, F&B. There's so much, and at the end of the day, when you put them all together, they're all kind of like enhance the deliverables of the next project, because you learn a lot by doing this diversity of work.
Yeah. And let me ask you, beside architecture and design, do you have any other passions?
Yeah, two things in particular. Cooking is really my biggest, I love cooking, and I love inventing my own dishes and changing them around, and I'm a foodie, so I travel and I go to all the really cool restaurants around the world, and I outdo their dishes. It's a pretty high standard that I'm aiming for, but you know what, having been doing this for such a long time, I could say that I'm a pretty good cook. So that to me is very dear to my heart, and my friends know me and they understand what I'm talking about. And obviously my wife appreciates my cooking, and so is my mother-in-law and my kids. But the other thing that I really love is fashion and jewelry, and and you know, this is again, having had the opportunity to travel all over the world, then it exposes you to the sort of kind of other side of art and design, which is really fashion, and fashion is unbelievable. That's why I always gravitated towards Italy, and I hope I don't offend anyone, but I think that Italians have the best touch when it comes to fashion.
Thank you. And the final questions, what exciting project are you currently working on with your team?
Well, many projects. Recently, we were awarded a project that had to do with senior communities, and I think this is something that is a reality, and reinventing it and being able to deliver something that it is uh, the best possible product for senior communities, I think is very, very important. And it we borrowed from hospitality and residential. So to me, it's very dear to me and dear to I always think about my own family, my own relatives. So, and we're doing actually a cultural, let's call it a museum, a cultural place in the Middle East. Right now, it's really under wraps, but it's something that is, again, you know, breaking boundaries and doing things that are not just like your normal realm of things. We also just finished a very magnificent residential home where basically the clients gave us pretty much carte blanche to do something very contemporary, soup to nuts, meaning not only the interiors, but the selection of everything that goes inside of the house, from furniture to drapery to accessories to cutlery, so on and so forth. So it's actually very interesting because it does kind of like these three projects have nothing to do with each other, and they're all of them are wonderful and great to be involved in.
Wow. Andres, thank you so much. Today was just the two of us, but I think gave to all of our viewers more insights about you and really how you like to work. So again, thank you, and thank you all our viewers for watching. If you like this episode, make sure to comment, share it, and also follow our YouTube channels. And see you to the next episode. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.